got a note from George, one of my subscribers, and he's interested in the gray Clinton that I listed as Clinton sample. We're going to turn this sucker around so we can see the tag. Get a nice good shot of the tag there. And he was concerned about the crankshaft having been welded on. On the business end of it, there are no modifications or alterations to it. Sorry about the heater noise. So, taking a look at the sheet metal. The sheet metal for the points, the sheet metal for the filter, the sheet metal for the blower housing. We'll get an upper picture here in a minute. Looking down here. Just wanting to give George a complete once-over. Now this is the end that was welded onto. You can see right here the centering hole that was used when it was being machined is there. There is a little bit of weld on this. That could be corrected in case the flywheel nut needs to come off. And also there's a couple of little marks here where it looks like somebody may have tried to just whack that end off so they could pull the flywheel off. So there is that. Let's look at the gas tank. We have a ding in the gas tank. Whoever painted it gray had the forethought to keep the decals uncovered, which I think is pretty awesome that they had the forethought to do that. So now we're going to lower the engine down. Also, I hooked into this fuel line in order to feed the carburetor. The fuel shutoff is not on it and wasn't on it when I got it. In my opinion, that's a minor detail. Let's go ahead and drop her down. We'll take a look at the sheet metal on top. And all the springs and everything that should be on it are on it. And other than just a couple scratches in the paint, the sheet metal on this thing is actually in really, really nice shape. So next we're going to take a look into the gas tank. And if memory serves, it's galvanized inside and it looks awesome in there. So we're going to grab a flashlight and take a peek and see how well we can do this. I'm hoping that is showing up. But the inside of that gas tank is literally 100% rust free. No rust whatsoever in that gas tank. So that tells me it was stored indoors. It was obviously used for something after it was pulled off of the test line. And the story that I've gleaned so far on Clinton engines with a sample tag on them is that there was just a handful made to possibly introduce to the next model year. This is a 9 horsepower red, or 9.6 horsepower cast iron red horse. In my research, I did not come across any production 9.6 horsepower red horse engines. I did, however, come across a plethora of 9.5 horsepower engines. So back to what was supposed to happen to this engine. As with all of the Clinton samples, after the sample runs were done, it's my understanding that the tag would have been removed and replaced with a general production tag, and or the engines were slated to be destroyed. since this engine was not produced, it was one of the engines that were all supposed to be destroyed. All of the samples were supposed to be destroyed. Somehow, just like pennies at the Franklin Mint, or just like pennies at the Mint that slip through the cracks and become valuable, that's what I see this as. You know, I see this as a 1909 SVDB, or a penny, or a, you can pick your rare coin. That's how I characterize this engine, as just a rare bird. The clutch is good and free, and when I spun it up, the counterweights did expand and it did lock the clutch up. But this is for George, and I hope that I have gone through, shown, and covered enough. It even has a provision here for a fuel pump if needed. But I hope this covers everything that George would like to see on this Clinton engine. He already knows that it runs. He saw the video of it running. But I'm not done. He also stated in the note that he is always looking for whole engines and parts. I just happen to have a box of new old stock Clinton parts also that I have no use for. So let's pan over to those. And here we go. The Tecumseh obviously is not a Clinton, but I have a number of envelopes in here that parts have fallen out of, and they're spread out here. But we have this part, and if it's a part that is by looking at it, it either looks like a fuel pump or an oil pump. I'm gonna just venture, I guess, that it is a fuel pump because it has an eccentric in the center of it, and so well, it could be an oil pump too. May very well be an oil pump. So there's that new old stock part. Let's see if we can find a part number on the box here. And it says oil pump right on there. Okay, so that is an oil pump. We also have a cam with a decompression release. The spring for the cam is not on there. I do not know the model that this goes to, but it is a brand new cam with just flash rust on the surface of it that could be cleaned up. We have an oil dipper, connecting rod pin, a stray gasket. I am not sure, but maybe George will know what that is. It almost looks like a tool that would be used to remove or install a component. We have a PCV oil breather. We have a series of gaskets, oil pan gaskets, as well as this next box here, I believe, has them all out. And we've got some shims for shimming your connecting rod or your crank, side play, and an oil pan gasket. Move that over. In here we have a head gasket, and there are two here. They may not be head gaskets. I am not sure. It just says gasket. But got those two gaskets. I'll be sure to put them back in the envelope when I'm done here. And then a envelope with a boatload of what looks like intake and carburetor related gaskets, exhaust manifold gaskets, and also crankcase vent gaskets. I don't know how well you can see in there. Quite a few. Then we have two more cams new in the box. A smaller cam here. And again, just a little bit of flash rust on them. Nothing that won't clean up with a real mild acid bath. Let's see, I saw something else in there. What else is in it? That's it. Okay. Really small cam. Okay. Then we'll get on to the last box here, and we'll finish this video out. Again, the video is for George because he's interested in the Clinton sample engine. So I thought if he's interested in the Clinton sample engine, he should certainly be interested in these parts that I can throw in along with the price that I quoted him. So there we go. And George, if you know the engines well enough, then I'm sure that just by looking at these parts, you'll know what they're for and what they go to, and whether or not they are desirable parts or not. I myself am not a Clinton guy, so I do not have an opinion on the value or a knowledge of value on these items. I can only assume that just that oil pump for the right engine has got to be something that's difficult to find, but I don't know. I am not sure. And I forgot the intake elbow. We've got a rather unique looking either intake or exhaust elbow here. So there you have it. That is it. This is your friendly neighborhood Zippo, 11 minutes and 15 seconds into it. George, give me a big old thumbs up. Everybody else, yes, I am back out in the shop. This is all that's getting done today. I have my neck throwing me a severe fit, so I got to go in and get my hard collar on, kick back and relax. So I will see everybody on the next one, but you guys did get another shop video, and I know I always wind up going off. Just real quick, these were dropped off from my local pawn shop to get running, and they are all not running due to what? They all three have the exact same problem. What do I harp on all the time? I'll let you guys leave that in the comments down below. Please check the description out, as I am still attempting to fill this wall with license plates, and I have had nothing in my P.O. box for except for that note I just took out since around Thanksgiving. So if you guys have a spare plate you'd like to add to the wall, so that when I show it you will see what your donation is, or an old Zippo that you stumbled across that you'd like to see displayed in the case here, or even a cheese box, feel free to send them. Go in the description below. You can click show more on the description below, and it will expand it to show you everything I've got to say, which will be short and sweet and to the point. Alright, now I'm officially done. This is your friendly neighborhood Zippo. I will see you on the next one later. I am out of here.